used to have the soundtrack to this movie. We had the Shrek and the Shrek 2 soundtrack when my kids were little. And I heard every song on these soundtracks.
I can see the montage that's happening in the movies right now in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Good movies, though.
So good.
I like the first couple. They got pretty bad after that.
Counting Crows. A brooding, dark band.
See, and I only know them as this.
God, what a chipper bunch of guys. One of us would be very shocked if we ever met them. I did meet them once.
Suddenly, you're having a flashback moment, aren't you?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Watching it happen.
Yeah.
And you can watch it too.
Target Center.
If you were on the
centralmediaservices.com/upandadam. Live video feed of the show. You can see me looking up as I remember working at the Target Center, getting an autograph. They were very broody then. This pre-Shrek.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you they had kids.
Ah,
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
And that's when people get soft and unfunny.
Or the Shrek people showed up with a check. Like, we need you to write a song for us, and it's got to be happy.
Kids or a check?
I could brood on that one for a while.
Yeah, I want to write long songs about months.
It's not. I don't think that was their mindset. Hey, we need a long song about a month.
Short February, not a leap year anymore. Just 28 days. All right, I'm Jack Tomzak. That is Andrew Lee. Let's do a little mandatory listing. More singing.
Our boss wonders why we're wasting all this time on news that ain't fun. He says the listeners want to hear a list from numbers 10 to 1. He says that our show needs help, or we're back doing nights. That's right. We think we're better off not listening to our PD's advice. When he insists on reading this list, we ask him this. We want to know what his reason is. He says our job's on the line. That's his reason why. It's Andrew's list, his mandatory list. It's Andrew's list, his mandatory list. It's Andrew's mandatory list. One that should not be missed.
There you are. How you doing,
I've
love?
been answering a lot of phone calls, okay?
Do we have a winner?
Yes, we do.
All right. What's their first name? Where are they from?
I can tell you in just a second.
All right, you
I was
haven't got
just
that
in the middle of
information yet.
talking to
All
them.
right. And we do have
Andrew.
we do have one more pair of Counting Crows tickets to give away, so keep listening in the next hour.
We'll be playing a good song.
We're going to play another Counting Crows song. This one will be nice and sad, just the way Jack likes it.
Are they the Counting Crows or just Counting
I think they're
Crows?
Counting Crows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
counting.
Yeah, not Black Crows.
I'm excited for next week when it's going to be 5 days, 3 hours every day of Andrew's mandatory list.
That's not.
It's going to be wonderful.
Hey, here's
gonna
another
happen.
list. All right,
Yeah.
what's this one, boss man?
5 ways the current generation has ruined being offended. Now, people need to stop being so insensitive. You hear that all the time. But the truth is, there's really nothing that shameful about getting legitimately offended. Standing up for yourself after being offended is a lot harder than it seems. Getting offended, but as getting offended becomes more and more popular and lucrative, it's become there's become a bit of a disconnect between why we get offended and what we do about it. Number 5, we seek it out. Too many people are seeking out being offended. A few weeks ago, we talked about this on the show. BuzzFeed found and published a bunch of old jokes written by the new host of The Daily Show, Trevor Noah. The internet freaked out to learn that this now successful comedian had once upon a time written a bunch of bad jokes and put them on Twitter. There was a medium-sized kerfuffle. People called Noah sexist and anti-Semitic and speculated that he would be immediately fired, all over some pretty tame and harmless jokes at the end of the day. One of them was South Africans know how to recycle like Israel knows how to be peaceful. Called that anti-Semitic.
Oh,
One of them was, oh, yeah, the weekend. People are going to get drunk and think that I'm sexy, said fat chicks everywhere. People called that sexist. They're bad jokes.
I would
They're
never
dumb
laugh
jokes.
at any of these. And if I sounds like I am, it's Lump putting in old laughs from before.
There's an aspiring comedian trying to find his voice, trying to figure out a way. And what a lot of comedians do is they throw a bunch of material out there, and especially on social media, they try to see what sticks, what gets some laughs. It's how they sort of develop their set. And yeah, some of them are going to suck.
To then be criticized by people who've been funny every time they've tried.
Exactly.
The non-professional comedian.
Exactly. The problem is it's virtually impossible to find any comedian or talk host who has never written or told a joke
Or person
or
alive.
a person alive that was taken in a way other than how he or she intended. You can dig through anyone's tweets and you'll find something that'll upset you. You'll find jokes that just plain suck. And if that's how you feel like spending your afternoon, you are an unfathomably sad creature.
I agree.
It's impossible to find any artist anywhere who hasn't accidentally imbued one of their creations with subtext or implications that are weird, disturbing, or out of step with their actual beliefs. You don't even have to be a creative person. It just happens, especially when you prescribe subtext or implications that weren't there when the intention of the content.
It's like the tweet from Clorox when Apple released the new multi-ethnic
Yes,
emojis, and
exactly.
they made a comment about
How there's no bleach emoji.
because they sell bleach.
Right. And there were other emojis that were like
Household
kitchen and
cleaning
cleaning
products.
products. Right. There were
There's a spick and span, but there's no bleach.
right
And people went out of their way
to be offended.
to assume that this company that sells bleach to everybody, well, was suddenly deciding to step into a race war. That was the day.
Right,
And
right.
that was how they were going to do it.
And this is not to say that offensive jokes are okay or that you shouldn't call them out, but you don't call them. You call them out because you want the content to improve. You call them out because they're bad jokes, not because you want to silence the person who's delivering the joke.
That is not at all why people call other people
But that's how
out.
you should.
Should.
That's why you should call them out.
Right.
Chris Rock and Louis C.K. have written great bits about racism, bits that are risque, bits that they push the envelope a little bit. Do you not think that as they were developing those bits, they maybe told them in a way that offended people or delivered them in front of audiences that weren't very receptive? Of course they did. But we're all better off because they honed those bits down. They got them better off. The world of comedy is better off because those bits exist.
Hone your bits.
Hone your bits. Another problem, we have no way of telling how many people are actually offended anymore.
I do.
And you remember
Nobody
Shirtgate?
No. Yes.
Shirtgate there was a NASA had just accomplished something there, and some
They
scientists
had landed a satellite on a
comet. That's
a
right.
moving
they
comet
landed a satellite.
successfully.
Right.
They didn't crash it.
I'm on a comet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all we could talk about was the brilliant scientists
Right. Who wore
Shirt.
a shirt with women on it. It was like
created
those
by a
people
woman.
considered it a sexist shirt. Depending on your disposition, you probably think it was either that time a member of the scientific community sullied one of their most glamorous recent accomplishments by wearing a stupid sexist shirt, or that time an innocent scientist wore a fun shirt and internet feminists lost their minds.
That was the one. That was what I remember.
I remember it that way. But in reality, both results are wrong because the truth is it was just that time a media made a big deal out of nothing because it was a slow news day. It turns out that the level of outrage on the internet is far, far smaller than any of us think, but because of how the internet works and the fact that our brains have not evolved to deal with the internet, the amount of outrage over any given thing is always going to be hilariously inflated because of the internet. 10,000 people getting angry about Shirtgate is all it takes to flood Twitter and Facebook with enough righteous rants to drown out all but the most dedicated puppy memes. But at the same time, 10,000 people
Nothing.
is nothing.
It's nothing.
It's absolutely nothing. That is an infinitesimally small number. But since our brains are still used to dealing with communities with a population of roughly 150, that seems like more than enough people to crush our tribe, burn our hovels, and carry off our livestock. So we naturally pay more attention than we should because winter is coming and Jebediah needs his protein. So while it's great that the internet has given everybody a voice, it's almost impossible to get a sense of perspective. Were we really mad about the shirt, or was it just a good mashup for stories? Were people really mad about Trevor Noah, or were we just killing time between the Avengers trailers and the Game of Thrones season premiere? We have no idea, neither do you, because we can't. Another reason why getting offended has lost its effectiveness is we get too sensory about the whole thing. There was
I don't agree with you, so stop talking.
University of Michigan recently scheduled a screening of American Sniper, which I didn't realize was that controversial a movie, but apparently it is.
I haven't seen it because I'm a bad American.
And an offended student started a petition to cancel it. So what did the college do? College, where it's supposed to be free thought, free expression.
They canceled
Get your
it.
ideas challenged. No, they canceled it, and they showed Paddington instead.
I had read that they reversed that and were going to or did show it anyway.
Well, eventually they compromised. They
Just show the first half.
They showed both movies at the same time.
The one for the children and the one for the adults.
Yeah, but the problem was they were not in the same room, and they were actually on the same screens. They were superimposed over each other.
Annoying.
Just very confusing. No, they showed.
Did they really show
Yeah,
Paddington?
they showed
as
both
in the
movies.
bear?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
For children, young children.
Yes, at a college, at the University of Michigan, because someone complained about American Sniper. So their alternative was, here's a movie about a talking bear
It would have been better if
in
they
a raincoat.
But he's so cute. It would have been better if they had like spliced together.
She's like, I'm okay with this.
But in between the American Sniper, like I don't know, like
could
the
have edited
stories
that.
were weaved together.
Like instead
like a
of
mashup.
shooting bad guys in the Middle East, they shot Paddington.
Yes. Just create a completely new story.
You see American Sniper? Yeah, it was weird. What's with that bear?
Kept shooting a bear in a raincoat. When I was in college, I read Mein Kampf. I read the Communist Manifesto. I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. I read very controversial books because they're important parts of our history and they're things we need to know.
Send your complaints to jack@twincitiesnewstalk.com. Well, I can't give him your email. Just complain about you reading Hitler's book.
It was assigned. I mean, it was part of a college class, and you learned.
Just following orders?
Yeah. Guess what? I'm not a Nazi, despite
You know who
the
else
drop.
followed us?
Despite the drop that Lump got the other day, I'm actually not a Nazi.
I'm appalled by both of you.
I'm a Nazi. I'm a Nazi. I'm a Nazi.
No, I'm not. That's not true.
Stop saying it then.
I'm a Nazi. I'm a Nazi.
No, that was taken out of
What is next week going to look like when I'm not here? Very white, I'm assuming. Very white. Tall, blonde-haired people. I saw who you hired for producer.
I've got a manifesto.
You hired
I've
me.
got a manifesto.
You hired her. See how tall and blonde Lump and I are at centralmediaservices.com/up-and-at-'em. What were we talking about? We're doing a list here.
No, we were in the middle of
Nazis.
the list, and now we're late for a break. So we'll
We went Paddington Bear.
we'll wrap it up
Nazis.
on the other
I
side.
don't. It's the if you don't agree with me, stop talking. And it's so weak and so intellectually.
And especially on college campuses, they want to shut down speech and presentations that simply offend them or that they disagree with, rather than engaging and trying to convince people and win people over and make a case for your side and learning from things that you might disagree with. They just want it shut down.
Here's my point. I was that I forgot. Now I remembered. Maybe the person who made the decision on showing Paddington was just being super passive aggressive. Okay, we'll show you a children's movie.
Right.
All right, when
because
we
you're
return,
obviously just a child.
Ben Johnson from the City Pages.
This is Up and At 'em.
Jack, you have a live spot. Don't run away. Live spot. No.
News Talk, AM 11.
I'll get.
The Cremation Society of